Welcome to Saints of the Day on Lumen Christi TV. Today is the memorial of St Anthony of Padua. St Anthony is called of Padua on account of his long residence in that city. He was a native of Lisbon in Portugal. Anthony was actually born into a very wealthy family in the year 1195. He received the name Ferdinand at baptism. His journey as the servant of God began as a very young man, precisely at the age of 15, when he decided to join the Augustinians in Lisbon, giving up a future of wealth and power in order to become a servant of God. Following his ordination to the priesthood, he was named a guest master and was responsible for the abbey's hospitality. Later, when the bodies of the first Franciscan martyrs went through the Portuguese city where he was stationed, he was again filled with an intense longing to be one of those closest to Jesus himself, those who died for the good news. Ferdinand eventually received permission to leave the abbey so he could join the new Franciscan order. When he was admitted, he changed his name to Anthony. He traveled to Morocco to spread God's truth, but became extremely sick and was returned to Portugal to recover. The return voyage was blown off course, and the party arrived in Sicily. From there, he traveled to Tuscany. Anthony was assigned to the hermitage of San Paulo after the local friars considered his health. The call of God came again at an ordination where no one was prepared to speak. The humble and obedient Anthony hesitantly accepted the task to preach. His years of searching for Jesus in prayer, of reading the sacred scriptures, and of serving him in poverty, chastity, and obedience had prepared Anthony to allow the Holy Spirit to use his talents. Anthony's sermon was so outstanding to those who expected an unprepared speech and knew not the Spirit's power to give people words. St Anthony of Padua is one of the most famous disciples of St. Francis of Assisi. He was a famous preacher and worker of miracles in his own day, and throughout the 8th century since his death, he has so generously come to the assistance of the faithful who invoke him, and he is known throughout the world. Once, when a novice decided to leave the hermitage, he stole Anthony's valuable book. When Anthony discovered it was missing, he prayed it would be found or returned to him. The thief did return the book, and in an extra step, he returned to the order as well. Anthony was only 36 years old when he died and was canonized less than 1 year afterward by Pope Gregory IX. Some 336 years after Anthony's death, his body was found to be corrupted, yet his tongue was totally incorrupt. So perfect were the teachings that had been formed upon it. He is typically depicted with a book and the infant child Jesus, and is commonly referred to today as the finder of lost articles. What can we learn from St. Anthony of Padua? Our reflection continues after the break.
Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let
The gospel call to leave everything and follow Christ was the rule of Anthony's life. Over and over again, God called him to something new in his plan. Every time Anthony responded with renewed zeal and self-sacrificing to serve his Lord Jesus even more completely. Anthony should be the patron of those who find their lives completely uprooted and set in a new and unexpected direction. Anthony is the saint of the 21st century when we are losing everything dear to us. We are losing the values of our faith, our family, our beautiful culture, the dignity for human life, our African sense of extended brotherhood. Is it our decency? All those are fast fading away and giving way to ethnicity, religious fundamentalism, terrorism, individualism, and other vices. Like all saints, Anthony is a perfect example of turning one's life completely over to Christ. God did with Anthony as God pleased, and what God pleased was a life of spiritual power and brilliance that still attracts admiration today. He whom popular devotion has nominated as finder of lost objects found himself by losing himself totally to the providence of God. May we who celebrate this day obtain through the intercession of St Anthnoy of Padua, the patron saint of lost items, of the poor, of travelers, the graces we stand in need of. Amen. Happy feast day to you all, especially the so many who go by the name Anthony. Thanks for staying with us. It's been Saints of the Day on Lumen Christi TV.